Hey, this is Heidi Dawson. If you love all things health and wellness and style of any kind, hang out here with me each week. I'm obsessed with never-ending improvement, and it's all in an effort to help each one of us live a wildly successful lifestyle. Subscribe today so you don't miss a thing. Hi guys, welcome to the 58th episode of the Wildly Successful Lifestyle Podcast. I hope this finds you happy. I talk about wildly successful lifestyle a lot, and I know everyone's version is going to be different. Now for me, it means being happy, feeling fulfilled, and growing, not being stagnant. Now being happy, I think, should be on the top of everyone's list of a wildly successful life. Because if you're not happy, it does not matter how much money you have, or how fit you are, or what purse you carry. If you're not happy, nothing else really matters. I think we can agree on that. Now, each of us has a baseline of happiness. There are some people that are just naturally happier people, but studies have shown that about 40% of our happiness is in our control. That's a lot if you really think about it. That's good news, I think. Now, being happy is sometimes going to be easy for all of us, and sometimes it's going to take work. And that's with anyone. To make the time when it takes work easier, we need to give ourselves every single advantage there is out there. But just like you, there are certain things I want to have in my life in order to be happy. Now, that's where it can get a little tricky, because sometimes we make the requirements so strict that it's hard to meet them. Sometimes, too, we have requirements that include other people, and we don't control anyone other than ourselves. So that's kind of hard to do. We don't want to have our happiness hinge on expectations of other people. That's a recipe for failure. Having goals that are unrealistic, that's also a recipe for failure. I'll share with you a couple examples of this in my own life. One area where I kind of struggle with being realistic is my body. Now, I'm 47, and sometimes I expect my body to look like I'm 27. This is not an easy accomplishment. In fact, it is simply unrealistic. Now, I know where this hang-up comes from. Growing up, my grandmother used to say to us girls, you can never be too skinny, and your hair can never be too long. If any of us would cut our hair, she would say, "Oh, you've cut your beauty." I laugh because she was the sweetest, most loving grandma ever. But those ideas, they really stick with you. So I'm having to work extra hard on loving my body where it is today. You see, being healthy and fit is really high on my list of things that make me happy. That isn't going to change, but I also have to be realistic about things. Now, another thing that's high on my list is having really good, strong, happy relationships with pretty much everyone in my life. I do not like having messy situations with people, and generally, I don't have that problem. But you see, that's also an unrealistic requirement because I don't control other people. And if you've listened to a few of my last episodes, then you know that one of my sisters and her family have chosen not to be in our life for religious reasons. So that's kind of messy, and I have zero control of it. So we all have situations in our life that are messy. That's called being human. And there are going to be periods in our life that are messier than others, and we're not going to be happy all the time. Our brains were not even made for that. Our brains were made for survival. But in modern life, most of us are not worried about being eaten by a tiger or having to build shelter to survive at night. It's kind of easy to let ourselves be lazy with our time. A lot of us veg out on TV or spend hours and hours on social media. Now, I know you're probably rolling your eyes, but I don't know too many people that feel super motivated, challenged, and excited for life after having spent 2 hours on social media of any kind. I know how it feels, trust me, to have gotten caught up on TikTok for hours. I don't know about you, but I kind of equate it with eating cookie dough. I don't feel great about myself for having done it. I'm just not setting myself up for success or happiness by doing it. I'm really just distracting myself from the day. But if we aren't careful, that can quickly become a daily habit that becomes hard to stop. It's not a recipe for success. And look, studies have shown that there are certain things that happy people have in common. Now, I'm a big believer in not reinventing the wheel, so I did research on things that most people have in common. One thing I found for sure is that happiness comes from inside. You aren't going to find it externally. Maybe momentarily, but not permanently. But there are things you can do to make it easier for you to feel that happiness. And I made a list of them. So do not write them down because I'm going to put them in my show notes, especially if you're driving. All right, so number one, spending time with happy, positive people, having good relationships. That is crucial, but it doesn't mean depending on others for your happiness. It just means spending time with good, happy people. Number two, exercise and eating healthy. I think we can all agree on that. Number three, having goals you're working towards that are challenging but attainable. Number four, living in a home that is clean and somewhat clutter-free. I can relate to that one. Number five, getting enough sleep. Number six, having new experiences. And number seven, doing something that you love daily. Now, for some people, that's work. And that, if you love what you do for work, I think that's ideal. Now, these are baseline activities, and they're things that have been proven to make people happy. Nowhere does it say in these lists of what makes people happy that they have to have a certain amount of money in the bank or be a certain size. There are happy people at all income levels and all sizes, as long as you have your basic needs met. So I challenge you this week to pick 3 of those things and focus on them and see if it increases your inner happiness. For me, I'm going to pick having new experiences, setting a new challenging but attainable goal, and decluttering my closet of things I don't wear because I find that I have a lot of that. I already feel happier and excited for the week. So now look, tag me on Instagram at @TheHeidiDawson with your 3 things and let's see if it works. I love you guys and I'll talk to you in a few days. Don't forget to subscribe and share with your friends because we're just going to keep going bigger and better places together, and I love that about us. Talk to you in a few days.